Welcome everybody to the Nuggets of Gold YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking about one of my favorite players in Javon Kinlaw, who I think is a big-time breakout candidate. Javon was the 14th overall pick back in last year's draft, and he came out of South Carolina as a little bit of a project player, but a guy that is just massive. 6'6", 310 pounds. He is a big dude. So with that all said, let's get into the first reason why he's going to break out. Reason number one, he is immensely talented. Like I said before, Javon is a big dude. He also knows how to use his size and his hands very well. You see him in these college highlights behind me here, and he knows how to use his hands. He's very violent at the point of attack, and most of the time you see the offensive linemen moving back and struggling against him. Unfortunately, Javon wasn't able to work out at the combine, so we didn't get to see his freakish numbers there, but as far as size is concerned at defensive tackle, he's around 90 percentile in the NFL. I loved when the 49ers took him in the draft. I know a lot of people wanted them to go wide receiver early, but I truly don't believe that Javon Kinlaw is just some average player. I think he's a guy that can become an absolute force in the NFL. And also, so it's just not my words in this video, let's listen to what Nick Bosa had to say about him.
Javon is a really good kid. He's really hardworking in the meeting room. He knows all his stuff really well. He doesn't seem like a rookie out there. We've only been out to a couple walkthroughs so far, and he knows his stuff, and he doesn't look like a rookie. And like I said before in an interview, he's one of the biggest humans I've ever seen in person, and that says a lot when you've had Eric and Buck on your team. So I'm just excited for him to have this opportunity, and I think he's gonna kill it.
So as you can see, Nick Bosa is a guy that believes in him. Also, the 49ers front office and coaching staff believed in him a lot as well. I mean, they took him at 14th overall. I think that he was one of the top players on their board, especially after seeing how much they stress taking defensive linemen early. So yes, I think Javon is immensely talented. We saw a lot of flash plays and plays where he really popped out on the screen, and we saw him dominating some of these guys in the NFL, especially later on in the season, and unfortunately he did end up missing the last few games with a knee injury. But we saw Javon develop a lot this year, and we saw him become a much better player at the end of the season. I remember in the Bills game, he was one of the only guys getting a lot of pressures, and that was a game where the defense looked bad, and he was one of the only guys that looked pretty good that game. Also, in the Saints game, that was a game he had a sack and a half. He looked really good. And the Rams game, of course, he had the pick six, but he was also bringing a lot of pressure in that game, and he played really well. So yeah, this guy, he's got a lot of talent. The organization has a lot of faith in him, and I think that we can see him become a very, very powerful player inside, and one that interior offensive linemen can't really hang with either. I think he's going to become a guy that has to be consistently double-teamed, and that's scary when you start looking at the other defensive linemen on the 49ers. But with all that said, let's move to reason number two, the NFL learning curve for defensive linemen. It's not very unusual for an NFL player to struggle as a rookie or just be okay as a rookie before really turning it up a notch in year two, and especially for defensive linemen. Because when you're moving from college football to the NFL, you have to face much tougher competition, and it is a lot tougher to play in the NFL, and we've seen a lot of guys at defensive line that struggle either early on in their careers or in just their rookie year, and then they make that jump and become marquee players in the NFL. Look at DeForest Buckner and Eric Armstead and see how it took them a little bit, and it took them having a lot better players around them before becoming really, really good players. So having an extra year of offseason will definitely help Javon a lot. But this is his first true offseason also, because he had the COVID offseason as a rookie where he doesn't get the same out of it as a normal rookie would. So I think this is going to be a huge thing for him. Now he can actually get an offseason where he can really learn what his defensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator at that, DeMeco Ryans, wants out of him. And he gets to practice more against NFL linemen every day and also just learn from other players that are really talented around him. Along with those players, there's defensive line coach Chris Kocurek, who has got a lot out of these guys on the 49ers. I mean, we see the jump from 2018 to 2019 from a lot of guys, and it was clear that Kocurek had a lot to do with that. So having another year being coached by him will also be invaluable. So finally, to my third reason why Javon Kinlaw is a breakout player heading into the 2021 NFL season is Nick Bosa. In his rookie year, Nick Bosa showed that he's going to be a household name for many years to come. Unfortunately, he had the ACL injury in 2020, but he should be back at full strength next year. And for Javon, having a guy like Nick Bosa lining up next to you is, I don't know how to describe it. That is just, I guess, luck for him because he got drafted in a spot where they have a superstar pass rusher like that. But that's similar to lining up to a Von Miller, lining up to an Aaron Donald, lining up next to a TJ Watt. There just aren't many better pass rushers in the NFL than Nick Bosa. There's a couple guys that you can mention, but he's in that top tier of guys. So that's something where you just have a defensive lineman next to you that is an all-out superstar. They have to focus their attention on him. They have to bring tight ends over and help him. And so Javon's going to get one-on-one matchups often. So Javon's going to really have a chance to rack up a lot of sacks, rack up a lot of pressures, and just make big plays over and over and over. And for the 49ers, this is why they drafted him in the first round. They knew that if they could put a guy like him next to Nick Bosa, then they could hopefully replicate that 2019 defensive line. The 49ers are going to need Javon to step up, and the dude has all the talent. He has that second-year surge coming, and most importantly, he is playing next to a superstar defensive lineman and a guy that can get to the quarterback. So I expect him to make a massive leap this next season. We've seen that the 49ers are willing to spend a lot of capital on the defensive line, so I wouldn't be surprised if they take a guy pretty early or they go after a bigger name free agent. A guy in mind that I have is Carlos Dunlap. But if they can build that dominant defensive line again, I fully expect Javon Kinlaw to win a lot of his one-on-one matchups and to just become a force on the inside. So that's going to do it for today's episode, but I hope you liked it. Javon Kinlaw is a guy that I have a lot of faith in. I'm probably going to make a similar video about Brandon Ayuk pretty soon because I think that dude is very special as well. But that's going to wrap it up here. So if you like this video, please press the like button and subscribe because that helps the channel a lot. But thanks again for watching, and go 49ers. I'll talk to you guys soon.